Party Planning Plus Part 2 on your own. Step number 1. Step number 1 is inserting an object. So we are going to insert an invoice into our spreadsheet to keep all the information related to this party together. Let's start by adding a new sheet tab. We're going to name this sheet tab Invoice. Push Enter. Then we're going to go up to the Insert tab. We're going to go to Objects because it's going to be coming from a different file. Create from File. Browse. We downloaded it already, so it should be in our downloads. On your own invoice, click Open, and then click OK. When we do that, it's going to embed our file into our document, and it's going to be like an image of that Word document, allowing us to keep all our information for this event together. Step number 2, we are going to look at the cost of the venue. So let's go to the Venue Comparison tab. On this tab, we have 3 different venues, and we want to be able to get the subtotal, tax, and total with tax. So what should we use in order to get the subtotal for the Youth Center? Yes, so we're going to go to the Home tab, and we are going to use AutoSum to automatically sum up all the fees together. Push Enter, and then what can we use in order to fill that function across? Yes, we're going to use the fill handle. So we can click that tiny green square in the bottom right hand corner, hold the mouse down, and drag over to the right and release the mouse. And so that'll automatically fill in our functions for us. And so if we click inside those cells, we can see that the function updated properly. Next, let's calculate the tax. So when we're calculating tax, we know that we have to use the subtotal and the tax rate located in E12. So what did we learn together when we were working on Party Planning Plus Part 2 together? Yes, so we know that the tax rate has to stay in the formula when we're doing our calculation. And in order for a cell reference to stay in the formula when we fill across, we have to use an absolute cell reference. So let's work on this formula. So we always start with equal sign. So we're going to click B8 because we know we have to use the subtotal, and we're going to do Shift and the 8 key to multiply it times the tax rate. And so instead of just typing E12, what do we need to type in to lock in that cell reference? Yes, we have to use the $ in front of the column letter and the $ in front of the row number in order to create an absolute cell reference. That way when we fill across, it'll keep E12 in the formula. So if we look in the formula bar, notice that C8 was previously B8 in the previous column, and that updated, but E12 is staying the same in that formula bar each time because it's an absolute cell reference. So absolute cell references stay the same in a formula. Okay, let's calculate the total with tax. So if we need to calculate the total with tax, that simply just means that we need to add the subtotal plus the tax. So for this formula, we can do what? Correct. It's going to be B8 plus B9. Okay, and then we can fill across there as well. Okay, for the next step, it says that we are going to create sparkline charts. Do you remember what a sparkline chart is? Okay, so a sparkline chart is going to be basically a graphic representation of data for one row. So to do a sparkline chart, let's click inside of cell E4, go to the Insert tab. On the Insert tab, we're going to find the Sparklines group, and we're just going to push Column. We need to select our data range, so we can click inside of cell B4, hold the mouse down, drag over to D4, or you can type B4:D4, and then we just push Enter, and it automatically puts our sparkline chart in for us. And then we can fill down all the way to B7. All right. For the next step, we want to figure out how many people are going to be coming to the party. So we are going to go to the Party tab. On the Party tab, we're going to find H2, how many people are coming to the party. Do you remember what we're going to press in order to find the function for this to solve for how many people are coming to the party? You got it. So we're going to go to the Insert Function button, the FX button next to the formula bar, and we are going to search for Count If. We are going to count the cells if they have the word yes in it. So count if is going to be the function that we need to use. Hey, remember when we select our functions, it's going to give us the option to read what we need to put in each text box. So the first thing we need to do is find the range. So the range is the cells from which you want to count non-blank cells. So our range is going to be column B. So we can place our mouse next to the letter B. That it's going to give us that black arrow that's pointing down. Go ahead and click on it. It's going to select the entire range of B. Or you can just type in B, colon B. Next, what is our criteria going to be? Right, yes, and remember we have to use those quotation marks in order for it to be able to count the word yes. So yes is going to be our criteria in quotation marks. If you typed it in properly, it's going to give you your formula results, and it should say 311. Okay, so then 311 will appear in H2, telling us that 311 people have said yes, they're going to be coming to our party. Next, we're going to do conditional formatting. And conditional formatting, remember, it allows us to set a specific format to a certain condition. So if we select the column F, for example, so select column F, we can click next to the letter F, wait for that black arrow, then click down. We can choose to set a format based on the certain condition that we want to find meals that cost more than $10. So when we go to the conditional formatting option on the Home tab, which option would we select after we select highlight cell rules? Yes, this time we want to do greater than. So this time for our criteria, we're going to do greater than 10. And it says we want to select the light red field with dark red text for our formatting. So go ahead and click OK. So it's going to select all the meals that are greater than 10. So if we scroll down really quick, you should see all the meals that are greater than $10 selected, highlighted with light red fill and dark red text. Next, we're going to sort levels and sort by level. So we're going to put our names in alphabetical order, but then also the people that are coming to the party at the top. And remember, before you can even sort, you have to filter your columns in order to get that option. So let's select columns A through F. Click next to the column A, hold your mouse down, drag over to column F. On the Home tab, let's find the Sort and Filter button. Choose the Filter option. That's going to allow us to keep our row information together. So first, we want to start by going to column A, and we want to put column A in alphabetical order. So we want the names to be in alphabetical order. So we're going to choose A to Z. That's going to put our names in alphabetical order. Then we also want to put all the yeses at the top. So then we're going to do sort Z to A. So we see all the people that are coming to the party, and it's also listed in alphabetical order at this time. Next, we are going to name a range. And in order to name a range, we are first going to select the range that we want to name. We're actually going to define the range of everybody that is coming to the party. So I want you to find the second row. You're going to go ahead and click on the second row, hold your mouse down. We're going to wait for it to turn to that white cross. Keep holding your mouse down. We're going to drag all the way down to row 52. And so this is going to be, this is going to be the A list. So everybody whose name starts with A. Oh, I guess it's 34. So we're going to go to 34. So we are going to go to the Formulas tab. On the Formulas tab, we are going to find where it says Define Name. And so we are going to call this the A list. And remember, whenever we're defining names for a range, don't put a space in between, otherwise it won't let you create the name for the range. And then we're going to click OK. So what this does is, no matter where we are on the spreadsheet, if we click on that drop down, it'll automatically take us back to that particular range. So it makes it easier to get back and forth between ranges when we're working on our spreadsheet. The last thing we did together was check our file for accessibility. So in order to do that, we are going to go to the File tab or Backstage view. Remember, this is where you can do protect your workbook, inspect your workbook, manage your workbook, also where you can set your properties. You can change things like your status, categories, etc. So to check for accessibility, we are going to go to the Check for Issues button. Check accessibility is for content that people with disabilities might find difficult to read. So go ahead and choose that second option. Excel is going to search to see any errors that might be on this spreadsheet. That might be hard to read for some people. And so we're going to go to Chart 1, Meals Prices, and we're going to add alternative text. So it suggests that we add alternative text that helps readers understand information presented in pictures and other objects. So to add alternative text, we are going to click in the white area on our chart, kind of close to where that title is, and then we're going to right click, and we're going to go to where it says Format Chart Area. And when we get our Format Chart area, we are going to click the Size and Properties button, find where it says alternate text. We're going to add that title in, and we're going to title it Meal Prices. And then we are going to type in the description that it's going to say chart comparing the prices for new meals. And that's it. So once you do that, once you close out of it, it'll save that alternate text for you. All right, so in this lesson, we quickly went over how to insert objects. We also used our AutoSum function. We created a formula utilizing an absolute cell reference, which keeps the cell reference in a formula. And we also did sparkline charts. We inserted functions using the if function to count how many people said yes, they're coming to the party. We also did conditional formatting, sort levels, as well as name ranges, and we checked accessibility for the chart. So go ahead and save your work, and you're going to submit to Google Classroom if you're in my class. And now you are going to study a little bit more about Excel.